Katie. Women and men who say sex can wait.
When I tell them that, they're like, no way, you're joking.
Is keeping your virginity old-fashioned or a growing trend?
How did it feel after 37 years?
Then Benjamin Stockham from the hit show About a Boy.
You got your own TV show. It's pretty great. I mean, you know, right?
Plus, the germiest places in your home that you're not cleaning.
These are things I never even imagined.
From Studio One in New York, it's Katie.
Relax. We have a fascinating show for you all today, and I want to start by asking everyone a very personal question. How old were you when you lost your virginity? I know, awkward, right? Were you in high school, college? Was it on your wedding night? Now, don't worry. The good news is you do not have to answer that. According to the CDC, though, the average age at which Americans lose their virginity is 17. But my guests today have waited much, much longer. Why did they do it, and what impact has it had on their lives and relationships? We intend to find out, and that's why the virginity movement is today's big conversation. A recent study by the Centers for Disease Control revealed that 47% of all teenagers lose their virginity before graduating from high school. But today, it seems as if more and more people are holding onto their virginity for years after graduation, sometimes even for decades. The trend has been front and center in movies like The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yo, answer this question. Are you a virgin? Are you a virgin?
Yeah, not since I was 10.
It all makes sense. You're a virgin.
And in TV shows like HBO's Girls.
We have never had sex.
What?
I've never had sex. Okay? AKA, I'm almost 22, and I'm a virgin.
But for some, holding on to your virginity is no laughing matter. Amanda McCracken is a writer who recently revealed she's a 36-year-old virgin.
I'm definitely not afraid of having sex, and I think that there is a huge investment at this point. I'm waiting to be in a mutually exclusive, loving relationship, and it shouldn't be a big deal, and it's freeing, but at the same time, there's a lot of vulnerability with that. I've definitely had my doubts about the route that I've taken, but deep down, that's what feels most comfortable to who I am. I've waited so long that I can't just have sex with somebody just for the sake of ripping the Band-Aid off.
So please welcome Amanda McCracken from Boulder, Colorado. Hi, Amanda. Hi. This is such an interesting topic to me. When did you make the decision that you were going to wait?
Well, I think it's been, it was a decision that I started making when I was younger, and I grew up in the church, and I do think that had an impact on me early on, but it's been, I think it's kind of evolved, and at this point, it's not a faith-based decision. It's more about wanting to be in that mutually loving and exclusive relationship.
And when people hear that you've made a decision to remain a virgin, do they think you're out of your mind? I mean, how do they react, and what kinds of assumptions do they make about you?
Unless they know me well, they think maybe I think I'm prudish, or that I'm afraid of sex, or afraid of being physical, or not comfortable with my body, or they think that I'm gay, or I've been sexually abused, or that that I'm super ultra religious.
How has this all affected your relationships? Obviously you've dated and you've become involved romantically with men.
Yeah.
So when you tell these men that you're a virgin, do you think it negatively impacts the potential for you to have a long-term relationship, ironically?
Yeah, I've definitely worried about that, and I have asked men, if I had had sex with you, would it have made a difference? Occasionally I'll have people that's just, when I tell them that, they're like, no way, you're joking. And then they'll kind of come around and be like, geez, well, get it over with, like just rip that Band-Aid off. And I've thought, well, maybe I do need to just rip the Band-Aid off, but I can't at this point.
I think in this day and age, too, that both men and women probably want to test drive potential partners, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. So I wonder about that. I mean, I certainly have been very physical with men that I've dated, and so I'm hoping that gives, an idea of the chemistry,
right? Right.
But I'm not necessarily I'm not waiting for marriage either.
You're just waiting for a commitment.
A commitment, and just, to be in a loving relationship where...
Monogamous.
Yes. And
long-term.
And hard to find.
Well, Dr. Sari Locker is an author, a sex educator, and she teaches psychology at Columbia. And Dr. Locker, I know that you have met a number of adult virgins in your practice. And tell me about them. And are their motivations similar to what we just heard from Amanda?
Everyone's sexuality is unique. Some people who wait to have sex or who are adults who are virgins may be very happy with their choice. It might fit in just fine with their lives. But as you mentioned, the average age when people first have sex is age 17. It's a developmental milestone that people have a meaningful relationship in their late teens or early 20s, and most people lose their virginity in that early, meaningful relationship. So when someone is waiting into their late 20s or into their 30s to lose their virginity, not only are they in a very small minority group, but also we have to wonder, or they wonder, what it is about the development of their relationships that's made it so they haven't reached that point. So perhaps they're holding on to this virtue as if that's their identity, as if it's so important to them to say they're a virgin, even if they're doing everything but. And they sort of lose perspective. Some people may lose this perspective that it's just a part of life. So sometimes it becomes bigger than what it started out as.
I was wondering about that, Amanda. Do you feel like this whole thing has kind of it's too much of your identity now? And they've almost, I think healthy sexual relations, as Dr. Locker said, are an important component to a happy life. But do you think that they've taken on too much meaning inside sort of your life at this point in time?
I've definitely wondered that, yeah, if it's become more of an identity.
Yeah, perhaps it's representing a lot more.
Yeah.
Your desire to be in a committed relationship. Perhaps it's, as I said, taken on too big a role in your life. Who knows? But once you've lost your virginity, can you get it back? There are growing a number of people who have already been there, done that, but changed their minds. 24-year-old Candace Clyott lost her virginity at 19, but she took a vow of celibacy 3 years ago. And Candace, I'm just curious, why did you decide to become celibate after losing your virginity?
I decided to become celibate because I wanted stronger relationships. I grew tired of casual sex and staying in a relationship with the wrong person because I was emotionally attached to him, and it was really hard to break up. And me personally, I did want a stronger relationship with God, so my behavior had to fall in line with that.
And how has it changed your life since you have become celibate and changed the nature of your relationships?
Well, dating is certainly different now. It is a conversation I have immediately because if it's something that he's not into or if it's a deal breaker for him, I want him to know now so that we don't waste each other's time.
And I know that you're part of a group called Virgins by Choice. And do you think this is a growing trend? Have you seen that among some of your peers?
I think it's becoming more popular now. I don't think virginity has the same stigma that it once had in the past. And I think now more people are celebrating it as opposed to hiding it.
And what do you think are the cultural trends behind this, Dr. Locker?
It's very solidly been found in research, particularly one research study by Lawrence Feiner at the Guttmacher Institute that found that since the 1950s, all the way up into the 2000s, 95% of Americans lose their virginity before marriage. So we know that it's a small minority. I think that what is different today, and where the trend does exist, is that we talk so much more openly about sex. So I think the trend is to talk more about it, which does lend support to people who are making that choice.
Having said that, about, is there any research about the nature of relationships that are formed when someone decides to wait until they're married before they have sex?
Yes, there was a recent research study that found that people have deeper, more meaningful relationships when they wait to have sex. And, I always advise young people to wait, and even people who are, getting into their later teens, their 20s, that when you wait for a meaningful relationship to have sex, whether that means waiting 1 month or 6 months, whatever feels right, or even for some people who want to wait until marriage, waiting until marriage, it can really enhance the bond.
Well, Dr. Locker and Candace and Amanda, thanks so much for, by the way, coming here and talking openly about a very private matter. It's really interesting, and good luck to both of you. And up next, we're going to meet someone else who waited a long time, a 37-year-old virgin man, when we come back.
Coming up.
You waited so long. What was